Hey everybody, welcome back to James Draws Everything, continuing with our Drawing Every Country in the World's Flag series, and today going back onto the west coast of Africa, and we're going to be doing the small country of Benin. Right, so Benin borders Togo, as well as Nigeria, and Burkina Faso to the north. For the longest time, it was the Kingdom of Dahomey, prior to the colonial times. And if you remember that goofy movie, The Woman King, that's actually kind of what that was based off of, right? So they did have like a female fighting force. They were also cannibals, and they provided the slave trade with pretty much all of its slaves out of that part of West Africa. Right, so again, the people were enslaved by their own. It wasn't just like a European enslavement thing, but they don't really teach you that. Voodoo comes from this part of the world as well. So a lot of the kind of like the animism sort of practices that arrived in Haiti and New Orleans. A lot of that is just because of the slave trade. Those people came from that part of West Africa where that was practiced, and even today, it's still practiced there. They'll tell you that it's like a majority Christian country, but Christianity can kind of be fudged a little bit to just kind of fit in wherever. So they might say that they're Christian, but they still keep a lot of those practices alive, kind of mixing it in with the Christian faith. So it's not really Christianity. Islam, that's more in the north of the country, because Islam is kind of more of a North Africa thing. And you can already tell from this flag, it's going to be a pretty simple one. It uses the Pan-African colors, right, of Ethiopia. So just the simple green, yellow, and red. And as I'm doing that, so the Kingdom of Dahomey, very, very savage and violent. Nothing that I think should be glorified or whatnot. And again, they were enslaving their own. So regardless of what Hollywood tells you, it's not like a innocent empire or noble savage myth. Many different tribes in the area that is now Benin. The French arrive in the 19th century. Okay, and they set up a colony there, the colony of French Dahomey. And that's kind of in the latter half of the 19th century. Great Britain does make some expeditions there as well, but they're kind of driven off the coast by the natives. So there is a lot of conflict with their colonizers. And kind of going into the 20th century, French Dahomey does achieve independence as France basically loses all of West Africa in 1960. And so they do become an independent state, just like all the other West African countries. They don't adopt the name Benin until 1975, which they've kept to this day. Benin, same old song and dance, pretty much. Very rough patch after gaining independence. A lot of coups, extremely unstable government, civil unrest. 1972, under Matteo Caracoa, they become a Marxist-Leninist state, right? And then again, same old song and dance. You know what happens when they adopt that particular ideology? Massive starvation, death, economic production just slows to a halt. and this was a hardcore communist state. Like, they were actually very close with the Soviet Union during the Cold War, because the Soviet Union wanted to have a West African port. So they supported Benin's government 100%. Communism falls in Benin along with the Soviet Union around the same time, 1990-ish, and the international community, wants Benin to have free and fair elections, which I guess they do, but Caracoa does return to power a couple times. He's kind of in and out. It doesn't fully leave until 2006, so it's actually quite a while. But they get rid of communism, Marxist-Leninism, kind of after the fall of the Soviet Union, and they write a new constitution. So, and if you feel like you've seen this flag before, it's because you kind of have. Again, all of these Pan-African flags are kind of the same. The green, that's hope and revival. The yellow is wealth, and the red is courage. All right, so it's a pretty easy flag, pretty simple one. And when I was doing some research into the kingdom of Dahomey and the people of Benin as well, I found a really interesting flag. So today's bonus content is going to be a flag that was found at the end of the 19th century in the British's expedition there. It's not entirely clear whether this was a flag of Benin proper, or Dahomey proper, or like just one of the neighboring kingdoms. Because remember, it's like the borders post 1960, not exactly like historical. They're not like a historical. God, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like place marks, I guess. Like, because there was always, the idea of like a nation state. That's not like an African thing. That was much more of like a European, like with Spain and later on France. So this may have been like a flag that was used by by one of the many kingdoms that kind of populated that area at the time. But it's kind of referred to, and this is a real thing, it's referred to as the Kingdom of Benin's flag. And it's on display at a museum in Britain somewhere. So yeah, the British try to kind of get in there as well, but they don't really have any success with that. And yeah, as far as like the British and the French kind of fighting over territory and stuff, that's not really a thing anymore by like the end of the 19th century. Britain isn't really at odds with the French anymore at that point. That part of history is kind of over. Okay, so if you can see what I'm drawing here, this is there's no subtlety whatsoever in this flag. So let me just get my details in there a little bit more. And these figures are they're very kind of primitive looking. It's not like I'm not like trying to simplify this or anything. This is actually how it is kind of stylized on the flag. Alright, so some couple of what looks like naked dudes fighting. And one of them happens to be getting the best of the other one. So give me just a minute here. Okay, and there's really no detail on the body. That's kind of just how it looks on the flag. He's got a big old sword. Let me just extend that sword out. And then this poor sap over here, he's on the receiving end of that. And he's got a clean cut there. Kind of looks like a tree trunk when you cut down a tree. Alright, so just finish off his legs here. The figures are kind of like pudgy looking. What if you flew this flag on your front lawn? What kind of reactions would you get from your neighbors, right? You can say, "Oh, it's my heritage. It's my African heritage," and then they'd be like, "Oh, okay." Probably gonna get a lot of odd looks from people. Okay, so that's that. Let me just get rid of these pencil lines. And then it's just kind of on like a color background. What do you think the color is? Can you guess? Yeah, it's red. It's on a red background. So it's just two, I'm not going to go all the way to like the edge. I'll just kind of outline the figures just to give you an idea of what it looks like. Yeah, so the Pan-African flags, again, those are all pretty much the same. We already did Togo. Benin and Togo. I always kind of link those two countries in my mind, just because they're both very similar. Like they're kind of just like both, like the way they look too on the map. They're in the same spot. They're both kind of like these little slivers, skinny kind of country that goes off the west coast into North Africa, into Nigeria. And yeah, their flag is very similar. It just has a star on it, if I remember correctly. We've got a whole bunch more Pan-African flags that we can do. I don't know if we'll find any unique treasures like this one for our bonus content. But yeah, they call this the flag, not of Dahomey, not of the Kingdom of Dahomey, but they call this the flag of the Kingdom of Benin. So there may have been an ancestral reason for using that name instead of Dahomey, after they gained independence. But yeah, no subtlety whatsoever on this flag. Just a dude chopping some dude's head off, Highlander style, right? There can be only one. So that's the actual flag of Benin. This is an ancient flag that the British found there in West Africa, which they think belongs to the Kingdom of Benin. Maybe we'll never know the details, but what do you need to know, right? Like, is there really a lot of backstory here? It's just a dude chopping a dude's head off. That's about as straightforward as you can get for a flag. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.